Dear student, as you prepare for the Machine Learning Nanodegree or Introduction to Machine Learning Nanodegree on Udacity, you might find the following extracurricular classes helpful. In Lesson 1, you might come across this section called Extracurricular Topics. It talks about your additional resources for Python, SQL, Command Line Essentials, Git and GitHub, data visualization, practical statistics, and linear algebra. Maybe you know coding in a different language, or maybe you need a review of college linear algebra. What you will do is make sure you go to your resources. You go back to the main page of your lesson, scroll all the way down. It's actually a little hard to see. Let me shrink my window a little bit. Scroll all the way down to the extracurricular section, where you will see this actually really long section. Make sure you don't spend too much time in this section. I always find it very helpful to quickly alternate between doing the lessons and doing the projects to ensure a timely graduation. But do note, these resources is available for you. There is introductory Python, everything from basic data types, control flows, to functions, and also to scripting, how to write your own modules and call that module and import it, working with input and output data. Numpy, which is the numeric library that you will use over and over again, especially to do linear algebra. And also Pandas, that is built on top of Numpy, often used to read CSV, process data in data frame, pre-processing data, and quickly get summary statistics of the data. SQL, as you may know, it is the database language. It is not very important to know all of SQL in this machine learning nanodegree, especially the introduction one. However, you might know this might come handy when you're doing interviews as an introductory data scientist or data analyst. Many companies still use SQL. And make sure you are aware of these great resources, but don't spend too much time. While using Jupyter Notebook, you will run a few very basic shell commands, such as ls, list all the files, and maybe create requirement files in Anaconda and run Anaconda commands. This is your resource for that. It also touches on Git and GitHub, especially if you're doing the career project. Note that is optional, that is something you can opt out. And additional is Python for data. There are different flavors of Python. You don't have to know all of these to be successful in the nanodegree. I find this section to be very useful for interviews and in-depth. And similarly, as statistics, it is really useful to know these kind of resources exist and probably not spend forever in this section, because it will take time away and potentially impede your progress in the actual nanodegree. This is a lot of information. Please refer to them sparely. Note, I've noticed students worry that they may not know enough Python to complete the nanodegree, while Python is absolutely essential if you decide to become a professional machine learner. It is the Python you need to know to be successful at using sklearn, scikit-learn, or PyTorch is actually more like know enough Python to be able to use the API, to call the right functions, understand roughly what the data is doing. For that, I recommend not worrying too much about the extracurricular. Do check on it, but focus more on the line to line. Just understand in your project, Jupyter Notebook, and in the lessons, what does each line of code do? What does each line of code trying to accomplish, rather than trying to learn Python or Pandas or statistics from scratch.